Today is one of those days where everything is just grey. It's changing between snowing and raining, and the sky is very overcast, and well, as I said, everything is grey. But I thought I would see if I could use this weather to get some nice photos anyway, and to see what can actually be done with the conditions like today. I'm guessing we all have days like this when the inspiration is not there and you feel like the weather is absolutely not right for photography, but maybe it turns out that this type of weather is actually really good for certain types of photos. So join me and we'll see. Well, as you can see, everything is gray or white, maybe some black elements, but I'm trying to work with that to my advantage. So some of these images might end up as black and white photos. Otherwise, I will just try to use the soft light to find the shapes in the landscapes. So it's kind of a good exercise for me as well to work on finding the compositions rather than just finding this beautiful light. So I'm trying to work with the bubbles in the ice leading away towards the horizon and the island that can be seen very faintly in the mist. So it's all about trying to find these lines in the landscape. I will try to get to the front of the rocks here to see if I can get this ice formation in the foreground and the distant island in the background. I'll just have to try to make this without slipping and falling, because these rocks are really slippery now when they're covered with snow and water. Here again I try to find lines in the landscape from this small stone here along the pattern in the ice towards the horizon, like a diagonal, and then I can have the image divided into sections, like the lower section here with the snow, the middle section with the diagonal, and then the top part of the horizon with the island. I find that's a good way to create balance and harmony in a photo. Well, there you go. I fell into the water again. Or I didn't fall, but I tripped into the water. There was a bit of ice here and it wasn't strong enough for me, so once again I got my feet wet, but I guess that's what you have to pay for getting the photos you want. At least this time I didn't get my camera into the water, so I guess I'll have to be satisfied with that. But I'll just continue here for a bit more before I go home and change. So let me see if I can show you like this. I wanted to create a diagonal between these lines, these rocks here, and then the pattern in the ice leading towards the horizon with the island and the sky. Most of the time I feel like this is not the type of weather that inspires me to go out and take photos, but it's actually very good. The light is perfect for photography since it's not that high of a contrast, and it's a lot easier with exposure and dynamic range. And the soft light really makes the landscape shine. So I will continue the next coming days to work with the weather. And the biggest problem for me right now is I forgot the rain cover for my camera, so I have to try to keep everything as dry as possible. It's the next morning now. I know I said I was going to focus on grey weather photography, but what can you do when the sun decides to rise? I just have to take a quick stop down by the sea. I brought the dog with me. She had to get her morning walk anyway, so And just like that, the sun is gone and it's overcast again. I had to get my drone up and take some views of this landscape while the sun was rising, and there was some mist as well. I hope I got some nice video. I also used the drone to take some photos of the ice from above, pointing straight down, and I think that gives very nice patterns that can be graphically very pleasing. So now it's time to go inside and have some breakfast, because I didn't even have time for that before I headed out. I saw the lighting here and I knew it would be gone within a few minutes, so time for breakfast. Now it's really grey, like I promised. Today it's hardly even any snow on the ground, and very cloudy, misty, no sun, but no rain and no snow. So now I thought I would work with what I've got here for a few minutes. I really have to try to use the shapes of the landscape, shapes of the rock and the ice, together with the landscape by the horizon, to create interesting images. For example, I thought I would work with the ice on the rocks here, and then the islands by the horizon as a background. But I have to use the height of the camera to balance out the amount of foreground and midground and background to get a nice balanced photo. It's extremely slippery on these rocks, so I really have to be careful. I try not to move around with my camera in my hand, so I don't slip and fall and crash my camera into the rocks. So right now I'm working with trying to capture the silhouettes of the distant islands in the fog. The images turn out almost entirely black and white and very soft contrast. You can see these here, these islands in the background. This type of weather and this type of light is actually perfect for photography when you have some ice and you have some rocks, and you can play with the foreground and the background to create maybe a series of images that connect together for an exhibition or something like that. So we'll see what kind of collection I can put together from this day. Like this, for example, you have sort of a curved shape in the ice here, and then you have a few dots in the ice, holes maybe, and then you have the lighter area here and the darker area further out, and then you have the islands in the background, and together they make for some really nice both foreground, middle ground and background elements to create your photos. And if there is some ice like today, you can also try capturing some macro shots of bubbles in the ice or micro patterns you find. So you just have to get a variation of images and try to use your imagination. So here's an example of what I was talking about with the macro photography of the ice. I found a bubble here that I thought was interesting because it's situated in a darker patch of the ice. So I try to focus on that one and make it stand out to create an interesting point of view. Now the lighting is really changing. The sun is coming out and it's lighting up the sky above the clouds. It's really, really beautiful. This is actually pretty amazing weather for photography, for this, especially for this type of landscape photography, where you have more of the play with the gray scales, the tones, the shadows, the shapes of the landscape. Try to find lines in the landscape and patterns in the ice, and you can create really nice images. So it's another grey winter day, and I thought I would head out to a nature reserve area where we are staying at the Swedish east coast. Today it's back to more of light rain combined with snow. Well, it doesn't get much more grey than this, and to be honest, I think it looks great. So I try to use the geology in the rocks here to find patterns that I can use to create diagonals or lines in the landscape, like leading lines to lead the viewer's eyes into the image. So here it's too much of a straight line, but if I move my camera a bit and angle it, I can get a nice diagonal towards the island in the distance. So as you can see, there are both lines in the bedrock itself, within the structure of the bedrock, but there are also lines going the other direction from the ice, from the last ice age. So depending on how the light falls, you can use both of those elements to create or compose your image. So it's getting time to pack up and head home now. I really hope you enjoyed my few tips and tricks and ideas on how to find inspiration in this type of grey winter weather that might not be all that inspiring usually. I will try to make more of these finding inspiration type of videos, so I hope you will continue following me and join me next time. See you then.